Well, again, Jesus went out beside the sea. Large crowd gathered around him, and he was teaching the word to them. And as he walked along, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting in the tax booth. And he said, "Follow me." And Levi got up and followed him. And while he was eating in Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners were also eating with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. Now when the scribes of the Pharisees saw that he was eating with sinners and tax collectors, they said to his disciples, "Why is he eating with tax collectors and sinners?" When Jesus heard this, he said, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I have come not to call the righteous, but the sinners." John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting. And some people came and said to Jesus, "Why do the disciples of John and the disciples of the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast?" And Jesus said, "The wedding guests cannot fast while the bridegroom is with them, can they? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. But the day is coming when the bridegroom will be taken away from them. Then they will fast in that day." One Sabbath, Jesus walked through the grain field. And as they made their way, his disciples began to pluck the heads of the grain. And the Pharisees said, "Why do they do what is not lawful on the Sabbath?" And Jesus said, "Have you not read what David and his companions did when they were hungry and in need of food? He entered the house of God when Abiathar was high priest, and he ate the bread of presence, which is not lawful for any but the priest to eat, and he gave some to his disciples. Sabbath was made for humankind, not humankind for the Sabbath. The Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath." Well, again, Jesus entered the synagogue. And a man was there who had a withered hand. But they were all watching him to see whether he might cure him on the Sabbath, that they might accuse him. And Jesus said to the man who had a withered hand, "Come forward." And then he said to all of them, "Is it lawful to do good or to do harm on the Sabbath? To save life or to kill it?" But they were silent. And he looked around at them in anger and was grieved at their hardness of heart. And he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And the man stretched it out, and his hand was restored. And the Pharisees went out and immediately conspired with the Herodians against Jesus, how they might destroy him. Jesus, though, departed for the sea with his disciples, and a great multitude from Galilee followed him. Having heard all that he was doing, they came to him in great numbers from Jerusalem and Judea and Idumea, beyond the Jordan, and even from the region of Tyre and Sidon. And then he went up on a mountain. And he called to him those whom he wanted, and they came to him. And he appointed 12, whom he called apostles, to be with him and to be sent out to proclaim the message and to have authority to cast out demons. And they are Simon, whom we also call Peter, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John, both of whom he called Boanerges, the sons of thunder. Philip, Andrew, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James, the son of Alphaeus, Simon, the Canaanian, Thaddeus, and Judas Iscariot, who would betray him. And then he went home. The crowd came together so they could not even eat. Now when his family learned that he was home, they went out to restrain him because people were saying he's going out of his mind. When the scribes came down from Jerusalem, they said of Jesus, he has Beelzebul, and by this the ruler of demons, he casts out the demons. So Jesus called them to him and spoke in parable. How can Satan cast out Satan? The kingdom is divided against itself. That kingdom cannot stand. If a house is divided against itself, that house. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand. The end has come. His mother and brothers came. And standing outside, they sent to him and called him. Now a crowd was gathered around Jesus, and they said, your mother and brothers are asking for you. But Jesus said, who are my mother and brothers? And pointing at those around him, he said, here are my mother and brothers. For you see, whoever does the will of God is my mother and my brother and my sister. Once more, Jesus went out beside the sea. And such a very large crowd gathered around that he got into a boat on the sea and sat there. The crowd was beside the sea on the land. And he began to teach them in parables. And in his teaching he said, listen, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some of the seed fell on the path, but the birds came and ate it up. Other seed fell on rocky ground where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly since it had no depth of soil. But since it had no roots, when the sun rose, it was scorched and it quickly withered away. Other seed fell among the thorns. The thorns grew up and choked it, and it brought forth no grain. But other seed fell on good soil and brought forth grain, growing up and yielding and increasing 30 and 60 and 100-fold. Let anyone. When he was alone, those with him, along with the disciples, asked him about the parable. And he said, to you have been given the secrets to the kingdom of God. But to those outside, everything comes in parables, so that they may indeed look but not perceive, that they may indeed listen but not understand, that they may not turn again and be forgiven. Do you not understand this parable? How then will you understand all the parables? Look, the sower sows the word, and these are the ones on the path where the word is sown. As soon as the word is sown, Satan comes and immediately snatches away the word in them that is sown. These are the ones on rocky ground. They hear the word and immediately receive it with joy. But because they have no root, they endure only for a while. Then when trouble or persecution comes on account of the word, immediately they fall away. Others are those sown among the thorns. They hear the word, the lure of wealth, the cares of the world, the desire for things choke the word, and it yields nothing. These are the ones on good soil that hear the word, accept it, and bear fruit, 30 and 60 and 100-fold.